Hello, this is Elliot making another little vlog here, this time outside of the Kabukiza Theatre. This is where I'm going to be watching some kabuki for the next few hours. They're not letting people in just yet. The entrance starts at 10:30, the performance starts at 11, and it's currently about 15:15, so I've made it here with good time. Going to enjoy the lovely sunshine out here because it is a gorgeous day. And this is currently located in Ginza, in Tokyo. So really cool. Can't wait. I'll let you guys know how it is afterwards, but I'm sure that I'm going to have a fantastic time. Anyway, I won't loiter the streets too much filming this and disturbing the good people around me. I'm sure it's okay. See you in a bit. Bye. Hello, this is Elliot and I'm reporting in from Sapporo. My flight was good, although it was delayed by a little bit, and then I got the new airport limousine bus thing or whatever from the airport all the way to nearby here. It was 1,300 yen, so about £6.50 back home. Not too bad considering it was almost a 1 hour long bus trip, and I've arrived at where I'm staying, which is Towel House. Nice little area here. We've got a little kitchenette and stuff, little grill type thing there. We have microwave, fridge, toilet through there, and then we have over here, this is the shower and bath. You can actually have a look. This is the kind of bath situation you get in Japan often. It's usually quite deep but quite narrow, so we'll see how I get along with that. And some bunk beds here. If I still had Jack with me, he could take this, but I've got the bottom bunk to myself and this should be pretty good. Then over here there's sliding doors, which I don't want to slide too much, and little view out of a car park. Lovely view. And from the other side there's some sliding doors as well, but that just provides a view of, close that without breaking anything, that just provides a view of the little hallway out there. So last I reported in, I was just outside of the Kabukiza, or Kabukiza, I'm not sure exactly how it's pronounced, theatre, where I was getting ready to watch 5 hours of kabuki, and it was really cool. I really enjoyed it. I mean, what to say about it? So for that 5 hour period there were 3 intervals, 2 of them roughly about half an hour long, and the one in the middle about 20-25 minutes long. And I must be honest, the storylines, maybe a few people would find them a bit lacking, but the costumes, the makeup, the sets, the set design, the delivery of the lines, and like the poses that they struck, incredible. Really interesting. And as somebody who's had an interest in kabuki for probably almost coming up to a couple decades now, it was a very interesting and eye-opening experience. I'm really glad that I got to do it. So let's see. The first play was about basically this young lord whose brother has just kind of like usurped his power or something, and he's running away with 5 of his retainers, including one Benkei. And they've come to, I believe it was called Arata Pass or something, where a new border post has been put up just to catch them. And they kind of approach it. The border guards already know that this guy's coming, that he's got 5 retainers, and that they're dressed up as like priests or something, and they try and kind of wangle their way through it. And the hero of the story is this guy Benkei, and eventually Benkei kind of turns himself in, but this allows for the young lord and the other people to pass through. Benkei manages to convince them that the porter isn't actually their lord, because he beats the shit out of him, just keeps on beating him mercilessly until everybody's like, okay, obviously this isn't your lord. And so Benkei kind of lets himself be detained, lets himself get beaten up for a while until eventually he's like, how far away do you think those people would be by now? Oh, 1 league. Oh, okay. Keep on beating me kind of type thing. Okay, how far away do you think they are? Oh, 3 leagues. Oh, okay. In which case the time is right. And he goes on an absolute rampage. And it was really interesting how they did it. Basically, he starts ripping everybody's heads off, right? And so the actor would grab one of the other actors, one of the guards, turn around, right, and then throw over his shoulder. Sorry, my hand's in the way. But throw over his shoulder, like puppet head, a stuffed kind of doll head over his shoulder onto the floor, and then the guards would, how did they do it? They basically, in their collar, they had this big like red sash so they could hold it up. So we were just looking at their backs. There's this big red sash to represent the blood spraying out, and they'd run off the stage like that. And then eventually, after doing that to all the guards and to the main subordinates, he gathers all the heads together into like a barrel or something and proceeds to wash them like potatoes, which is a phrase that I've heard a few times before. I mean, I like to read Chinese light novels and stuff, and so I've heard the phrase, washing their heads like potatoes multiple times before, and I had no idea exactly what it entailed and exactly what it meant. I still don't know if I really know what it means, but it was a funny and entertaining scene nonetheless. And then the rest of the plays were really what can only be described as tragedies. So the second one, it was a bit of a dance kind of type thing, but it was about two young lovers, and one of them, basically, he was hired as like a porter or to deliver a sum of gold. And whilst traveling through Osaka, I believe it was, or from Osaka, he meets and falls in love with a courtesan, a prostitute. And essentially somebody is going to buy her, redeem her contract, take her as his wife, and, be done with that. And so in order to prevent that from happening, and so that he can have this woman that he's fallen in love with, and apparently the feeling was mutual, he ends up opening up a package of gold coins that he was supposed to deliver and using them to purchase her and then to fund their, fleeing away from there. However, as soon as he opens it, he realizes he's made a terrible mistake, because that means that he's now a criminal and he's going to be killed, and perhaps she'll be killed along with him. So they kind of make a pledge together that they're going to commit suicide. However, they're going to do that when they reach this guy's hometown, which is far to the north. So the play starts with them kind of traveling there in the cold, and they get to the father's hometown, where like traveling entertainer kind of sees them, meets them, does a little play to entertain them with a dance. Obviously he recognizes who they are, and then leaves, wishing them good fortune. And then the husband and wife, they end up seeing the husband's father, and the wife despairs, oh, this is the first and last time you'll ever see your daughter-in-law. And then they go off further out into the snow and do themselves in. So that was that story. A bit of a tragedy there, a bit. So then the third story was really interesting. There's, to be honest, I'll probably cut now to a little picture that I took of this recreation of a like calligraphy piece of art. So cut to that. And basically that was done by a monk called Tobo, I believe. And so Tobo's artwork depicts like a bunch of magical creatures, frogs and rabbits and foxes and that kind of stuff. And so I believe that this was an interpretation of that story that's depicted there. Not that there is a genuine story, it's just kind of like some illustrations, but they've made their own story. And in it, you basically have the frogs are of like a warrior caste, the rabbits are of a noble caste, or more the costumes that they're wearing. There's an owl who's of the peasant caste. There are some foxes who end up serving the monkeys as well, who are the last kind of figures in this play. And so it starts off with the two warrior caste frogs, a man and a woman, and they're serenely going about their day, and they meet the rabbits who fawn over them and like them, and then along comes the owl, who also, you know, is partying along. I think the foxes come along too at that point. And then along come the monkeys, and the monkeys are like these kind of warrior monks, and they pick a fight with the frogs. And during the fight, it's obvious that the frogs are winning. But then, the male frog gets an arrow stuck in his chest somehow from off screen. We don't know where that came from. And then the female frog, similarly, an arrow in her. And it's revealed after, you know, the monkeys start celebrating and stuff, but actually it was the head monkey, the head priest monkey that, you know, has a bow and delivered these fatal shots. And so it cuts at that point to the monkeys all celebrating, and the foxes are serving upon them. And before it had cut to that, a bunch of other frogs had come along, seen this tragic mess of the two corpses, but not seen who perpetrated it, and the rabbits were too cowardly to tell them what had happened. And so this turns into, as I said, the monkeys celebrating, the foxes are fawning over them, and along come the rabbits as well, who also kind of, hey, you know, please don't kill us too, kind of type thing. So after a while, it's the funeral of the two, you know, warrior caste frogs, and everybody's there, including the monkeys, who are presiding over it. They're giving incense to the two parties, you know, who are there grieving and stuff, and they're also, you know, leading the officiation. And so the monkeys are doing this when the owl, the peasant owl, comes along and ends up whispering to the frogs, hey, those guys? Yeah, the fucking monkeys did it. So needless to say, the frogs get quite pissed off, and so kind of launch their own attack on them and end up defeating the monkeys and taking the bow that was used to kill the two frogs, and they use that to shoot the head priest monkey and kill him. And then there's much rejoicing and celebration. The frogs end up forgiving the rabbits and the foxes and stuff for, you know, kind of being all wishy-washy with their allegiances. And that was pretty much the end of it. There was a nice song and dance type thing. There were songs throughout the whole thing, and they were really, really interesting, delivered in a very old-timey kind of way. And so after that one, there was the final play, which I believe was one part of the 6-part play that was originally performed in 1846, I think the English transcription thing said. And in this play, it's about a guy who's not a samurai, but did used to serve a lord kind of like a samurai would, and he's a tokobono or something. Basically, like, not a noble samurai caste, but wielding weapons and stuff and kind of standing up to them, you know, almost like this new caste that kind of came in and addressed some of the tyranny, apparently, but the samurais were committing. And so I've got to be honest, the hero in this one is not especially endearing. Basically, the context that we get before it is that the this guy who was in service to his lord, he fell in love with a servant girl called Satsuki, and so they kind of ended up getting married, but this meant that he was, you know, dismissed from his lord's service, and so they end up, you know, leaving. And so I believe it's set in Edo or something, at a pleasure district, this guy is leading his gang of people, and he ends up crossing paths with this samurai who's also leading his followers. And they kind of have a bit of a standoffish thing of, hey, you, stop there. Oh, yeah, what is it? Well, I need you to come over here to talk to me. Well, no. You're the one who stopped me, so I'm not going to come over and talk to you. You come over and talk to me. Well, I'm a samurai, so, you know, I can't really stoop myself down to your level. Eventually, they end up deciding that they're going to both approach at the same time and meet in the middle. And when they do, they discover that they actually know each other. Ah, you used to serve my lord. Yes, you used to serve my lord as well. Ah, okay. So both of them served the same lord. And it turns out that the samurai was also in love with this girl Satsuki. And so this started off a little bit of a grudge. But he says, no, the reason why I stopped you isn't because of that grudge or anything. Actually, it's because your guys, your followers, beat the shit out of my followers a little while ago, you know, in the pleasure district and stuff. So it turns into a bit of a thing. And the villain of the play ends up saying, no, actually I should thank you for disciplining my men, you know, but there is this whole thing with Satsuki, you know, and it's all, you know, a bit of a jealousy, envy type situation where it ends up they're basically going to have a big fight. But it's all stopped by a local tea house owner who comes out and implores them to stop and basically says, no, there's no need for this. Why don't you share a cup of tea, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, essentially that diffuses the situation. And so a few months pass and it turns out that the young lord whom our hero used to serve, has racked up a massive debt with a local courtesan house because he has fallen in love with a prostitute there. It seems like this is a recurring theme. And so he owes 200 golden coins. Now, our hero, despite not being in service to the Lord, decides that he's going to take this debt upon himself. One might think that the samurai, you know, with his loyalty to his lord or whatever, I'm not sure if he was still in service or not, but may have taken on the debt as well, especially as he seemed to be a moneyed man. But the samurai sees this as an opportunity, so he ends up going to Satsuki because it's the last day of the debt, and if it's not paid, it's going to be made public, which is going to shame our hero and his lord, and so they're not going to be able to live anymore. They're going to have to kill themselves. So he comes up to Satsuki and he says, tell you what, I'll give you these 200 gold coins as a favor. You can, you know, give them to your partner and he can pay off the debt. And she goes, oh, wow, okay, that's pretty nice of you. Wow. Oh, even though I've spurned you so many times, because she had to work as a prostitute. Though apparently she wasn't actually seeing any male customers. One, she can deny, that was one of their rights, she can deny anybody whom she doesn't like. But also, as she was married, I think that she wasn't sleeping with them, she'd just keep them company. Either way, you know, she says, I've spurned you so many times, why are you doing this for me? And he says, well, favors require other favors usually. It's a reciprocal type thing. So I need you to actually write a letter of divorce to your husband and say, I'm done with you, and, you know, then perhaps we can get married. And so she ends up umming and ahhing, but she agrees because she still loves her husband, but she doesn't want him to die of shame, so she sees this as her only resolution. As such, she writes up a letter of divorce, and, you know, the followers are going to deliver it to him, although they're kind of umming and ahhing about who's going to do it because they're worried they'll get the shit kicked out of them. So, just as they're kind of deciding that they're going to go and do that, along comes the hero. And he's, you know, shrugging off the debt type thing, saying, come on, collect it tomorrow, I'll get the money tomorrow. And eventually, you know, he's given this divorce thing, and, you know, he reads it out, and he's like, what the fuck is going on? Oh my god, what the hell? He sees Satsuki there, and he basically ends up going, fuck you. Fuck all of y'all. He won't even take the money. He's saying, I won't take that and be known as, like, some kind of cuck or something. Fuck this shit. You know, and she can't even explain the situation to him. He's too hot-headed. And so he basically decides, okay, I'm going to kill her right now. Honestly, what does she see in him? So he decides he's going to kill her, but he's stopped by the courtesan that his young lord is in love with, Oshu. And so she says, no, stop this, don't worry, you know, please, for my sake, don't do this, etc. And so he ends up leaving, saying, well, mark my words, at some point I'm going to come out of the shadows and I'm going to fuck you up, to his rival, the samurai, and you, bitch woman, I'm going to kill you. So, God knows, you know, why she doesn't just go at that point, maybe I picked the wrong guy. But, lo and behold, he leaves, and so they decide they're going to do the procession to kind of show that she has been acquired, that her contract has been redeemed, and, you know, she's going to marry this rival guy. But in order for Satsuki to be able to kind of try and deliver a message to her beloved to explain the whole situation, she feigns an illness and says, I need to hold back a bit. Oh, it's flared up again. What's flared up? It's flared up. Don't worry, it's a thing. It's a real thing. Oshu says, yeah, it's a real thing. And so Oshu decides she's going to wear the outer coat of Satsuki and have somebody bear Satsuki's lantern so that everybody in the area believes that this thing is happening, which to the samurai, that's, an adequate solution. Okay, everybody will know, it'll all be a thing, it'll be out in the public, brilliant. Okay, that's fine. And so they start going off with Oshu. They get to the Hatagayawa, or whatever, where the, courtesans are kind of, where the business is managed to, redeem the contract and all that stuff. And outside is our hero waiting to ambush and kill the woman. He doesn't even care about his rival at this point. That's not even on his mind. He's like, I'm just going to kill the woman. So he hides, the procession comes along, and out he jumps and starts attacking the woman. And it's a long, protracted fight scene. I mean, if the combat, some of it was really interesting with the physicality, especially of like the guards, how they would flip themselves over and all that stuff. It was very impressive. And then some of the other fight scenes, especially the ones involving swords, the distance was very, very wide. So it was difficult to tell whether a blow had been dodged or whether it was supposed to have struck. If all these blows had struck, Oshu was built like something else, because she took like over 20 hits or something. Like, it was crazy. But eventually, he runs her through, and she throws up all these papers. He runs her through a few more times. She falls to the ground. He looks over and he's like, oh shit, it's Oshu. I've killed my young lord's love. Oh fuck, I'm going to have to kill myself. And at that point, his rival comes out. And in the English transcription, it was like, the rolling drums signify a, mysterious magical kind of power. It seems that, the rival samurai has dabbled in the magical arts. And I'm like, what? Oh, okay. And so they start fighting and striking poses, and that's where the play ends, quite abruptly. So, my thoughts on these. Again, the storylines may be lacking a bit, but also I think that they're, almost a few hundred years old now, so fair enough. But the physicality, the staging, the set designs were incredible. I mean, for the final play, when they were changing between the courtesan's house and the Hatagayawa, the whole stage had a revolving part of it and spun around and revealed a whole new thing. It was incredible to see. Really, I don't know any plays in the West that have done stuff like that. I've not seen some of the bigger ones, some of the bigger musicals in the cities, so perhaps their set design can incorporate some big moving pieces like that, but I don't think the whole stage revolves. But yeah, really, really incredible experience, so much fun. I was so glad to go along and see it. And then afterwards, it was to meet up with my beloved cousin Chip in Shinjuku Station, and there was some confusion about that, but eventually we managed to find each other, which is great, because apparently last time we were out in Japan, when my brother tried to meet up with Chip in Shinjuku Station, they didn't manage to find each other, and it was all a bit of a, miss. So this time we managed it. I met up with Chip, I got my new card, thank God. It seems like it's working fine, so brill, I am sorted now. We had a nice cup of tea, egg sandwich with ham, which unfortunately I couldn't find a way to eat it without things just, spilling out. I don't know how he did it. He was managing to eat it fine, didn't spill a drop or something. So I think I'm just too much of a messy gaijin, But we had a good time there, great little meet up. And I'll be seeing them again on the 27th when I go to stay with them for a few weeks. So really looking forward to that. But again, thank you so much, Chip, for the assistance there. That was amazing. And then after that, I headed back to Funabashi for the Capsule Hotel G-topia for my final night there. Relaxed a bit, had a bit of an onsen experience again, which was nice. and had some dinner there, which was very good. Although I spilled my miso soup. I had a sip of it. It was lovely. I put it down, and it's got quite a narrow little base, and as I put it down, it tipped over and spilled a bunch, and I was so embarrassed. But immediately they came up, replaced it with another one for free, which was so kind of them. I don't know if we'd do that in the UK. You know, oh, you spilled your food? Get fucked, you know? But, you know, it's nice and cheap as well. And then from there today, I've gone to Sapporo, flown to Sapporo from Narita Airport. Really easy, really nice experience. And then taken the bus and arrived here and started filming this vlog. Now, unfortunately, I don't have any more food things from recent that I can put in this. No videos of anything. A friend of mine was saying to me I need to do a bit more food vlogging with it and stuff. I can include some photos from a couple of the meals that I've had so far though. Some ramen and also the meal at the 5-star hotel. So let's include some photos here. Don't know if my editing has done any justice, but hopefully you guys have seen 2 photos of the meals that I had. One of them was ramen at Ginya, which was in Funabashi, which was, you know, really nice, though very, very salty. And this comes from somebody who loves salt. People who know me will know I fucking love my salt. I douse my stuff in it. I could not finish the broth. It was so salty. But that's fine, you know. Eat what you want to eat and stuff, and if you can't finish something, leave it behind. I don't think it's rude. And then the meal from Hotel Chinsanzo, I had some Australian beef, you know, nice little steak. It was quite expensive, but myself and Jack used that to square up the split-wise and stuff. And it was so delicious. It was really, really good. Obviously small portion size, but bloody delicious. I did not feel like it was wasted at all. So yeah, now I'm in Sapporo. I'm probably gonna have a quiet night tonight. I may go out for a meal. I'm gonna look at what's in the area, but I may just end up going to the 7-Eleven or Family Mart nearby and just getting some onigiri. That's something as well. A lot of my meals have been onigiri from the convenience stores, partially because it's bloody cheap, and partially because I absolutely love them. I love them so much. One of the reasons why I came back to Japan was just to get easy access to onigiri. You know, like the seaweed, the salmon ones and stuff. I've not tried any of the spicy pollock roe because the word spicy still scares me a bit, but I've gotten better with spice. Though I'm pretty sure I had a pollock roe one whilst I was out in Hiroshima last time I was out here and absolutely loved it. So I need to get over that and try them. But if you guys want to see, you know, pictures of onigiris, I can include those. Otherwise, I'll probably just save the food vlogging for actual meals out in places and stuff. Either way, I think that's probably plenty enough for a vlog now. I can include the footage from before Kabukiza, which I'm sure you guys will have seen at the start. Thank you very much for watching and for keeping up with my travel vlogs. Yeah, subscribe for more. Bye. I decided to get some food out, some ramen, and thought that I'd just quickly do a little recording of this. Dylan, here you go, here's some food. Doesn't that look good? Oh my word. So it's a miso soup ramen. Can't wait. Gonna enjoy that. This was a really delicious bowl of miso ramen. It was ever so slightly spicy, but I managed to handle it fine. I have been getting better with spice. Altogether, it was 1,750 yen, which is about £8.75 back home, so a great deal. And as you can see, it came with these lovely, generous pieces of char siu pork, which were absolutely delicious. So definitely recommend that. 10 out of 10.